think dude respectfully is taken away from his aura of who he is, who people respect him to be.
If you think about him, here's a clown. Like, I love the hip-hop culture. I'm in love with the hip-hop culture. Blood, sweat, and tears went in my movement for the hip-hop culture. Here's a man that disrespect the dead, Tupac, Nipsey Hussle. You know, people that mean something to us. You know, 21 Savage. I look at how he, get on the phone on this clubhouse with another rat.
Popped off at me first saying my podcasting and business was 6ix9ine.
Yeah.
I told him I'm gonna do what I want to do. I don't give a fuck who he ratted on.
Right.
That ain't my business. The people he ratted on, handle your business. My homies ain't with him. I'm not telling him what y'all can and can't do. Right? He's under my protection. Now, if you pull up on him and I'm there, I'm gonna do what I gotta do to make sure I get home safe.
But what's the difference if you got 6ix9ine and he got finesse? Why can't they just be two snitching artists that do music together and y'all stay out of it?
That's my stance.
That's your.
J. Prince just made a bold claim, calling out Wack 100 for far more than just being a snitch. He's accusing Wack of playing a key role in why certain rappers avoid serious consequences while others end up serving hard time. If Wack has truly been the one pulling strings behind the scenes, then it raises a deeper question: who's really in control? Is Wack protecting these artists, or is he hiding something even more significant? For those who've been following the streets, this isn't exactly breaking news. Wack 100's name has long been associated with rumors of working closely with the feds. Some even say he gets advance warnings before drama hits the blogs. But J. Prince didn't just toss around the term snitch loosely. He went further, suggesting Wack is the reason some rappers seem untouchable. That points to a different kind of influence altogether, and who's topping that list? The Game, 6ix9ine, and Blueface, all closely aligned with Wack. All three have somehow managed to avoid serious legal consequences, both in courtrooms and in street situations. So maybe the real question isn't just whether Wack's a snitch, it's who exactly is he protecting and what is he hiding? Take The Game, for instance. His name has been tied up in lawsuits, public controversies, and scandals that could have easily ended his career. One particular case alone had him hit with a $7 million judgment, something that would have buried most artists. But it didn't. Why? Because of Wack, he didn't just support Game. He took full control. Wack secured the rights to Game's masters, managed his royalties, and ran things like he owned the entire music catalog. That's not just loyalty, that's a strategic power move. Wack essentially became the gatekeeper to every cent associated with the Game. Want to sue Game? You're going through Wack. Want a piece of Game's music? Wack already has his share. Locked in. Even when critics called that $7 million judgment excessive, Wack didn't blink. He held his ground like a man protecting an investment, not just an artist.
Original filing was for $1 million, $2 million.
Yeah.
Right? But for whatever reason, because the judge was feeling the way he was feeling, he bumped that shit up to $5 million, $7 million, some crazy shit.
Which leads to the next question: was this all loyalty, or was it about leverage? It's starting to look like Wack isn't just managing these artists, he controls their very ability to function in the industry. He's not just a manager anymore. He's the landlord of their entire careers. Look at 6ix9ine. Known for his rainbow-colored hair and infamous courtroom testimony, he became the face of snitching. After he cooperated in court, the rap industry turned its back on him. Labels dropped him. Odds distanced themselves. His reputation was toxic. His career was essentially over until Wack stepped in and gave him a second chance. Wack didn't just negotiate contracts. He gave 6ix9ine a platform on Clubhouse, kept him afloat financially, and reintroduced him to the public eye. This wasn't a simple business move, it was a complete revival. Wack brought someone many viewed as a loss, back into the spotlight without backing from the industry or the streets. Just strategic PR and what many believe to be serious protection behind the scenes. And despite all odds, 6ix9ine has continued to move freely, even in cities where he was expected to face immediate backlash. Months ago, J. Prince spoke out about all of this, and Wack didn't deny a thing.
Popped off at me first saying my podcasting and business was 6ix9ine.
Yeah.
I told him I'm gonna do what I want to do. I don't give a fuck who he ratted on.
Right.
That ain't my business. The people he ratted on, handle your business. My homies ain't with him. I'm not telling him what y'all can and can't do. Right? He's under my protection. Now, if you pull up on him and I'm there, I'm gonna do what I gotta do to make sure I get home safe.
But what's the difference if you got 6ix9ine and he got Finesse? Why can't they just be two snitching artists that do music together and y'all stay out of it?
That's my stance.
That's your.
That's not loyalty, that's strategy. Wack's making moves like someone who knows exactly where the bodies are buried and who needs to be kept in line. Then there's Blueface. His life's a non-stop headline fights, arrests, restraining orders, and viral chaos. It's like he's subscribed to weekly drama. But here's what's wild. Every time trouble pops up, Wack is already talking before the footage even drops. Before charges hit the internet, he's on Clubhouse controlling the narrative like, it's just another day. This isn't reaction, it's premeditated spin, like he's got the court calendar ahead of time. Blueface lands in hot water, and boom, Wack steps in.
When you found out that Wack was working with 6ix9ine, what was your original reaction?
I don't even know how that happened, to be honest with you, but it was just like, like
you're like, oh, okay, that's
like, okay, yeah, like it was one of those, like not like he's weird. It was more like
That's the point where it stops looking shady and starts feeling straight up federal. Word is, Wack didn't stop with just rappers. He allegedly had Birdman in his pocket too. Back in 2018, the two linked up to launch Cash Money West under Universal with a reported $20 million backing it. This wasn't some small time play, it was a serious West Coast power move. They had artists like Savi Third lined up and creating buzz. But the whole thing crumbled fast. And not just quietly, allegedly, it turned ugly. Wack jumped on Clubhouse and went off, even calling Birdman's artist BG a snitch right after BG had just come home from a 14-year prison bid. Who does that to someone who just got out? That wasn't just burning bridges, that was setting fire to names with real. Wait.
Couldn't represent where you come from and what's supporting you. So now I got to cut you.
Yeah, he biting the hand, huh?
So I'm not answering Birdman's call.
And instead of keeping it private and professional, Wack claimed Birdman kept calling, trying to talk things out behind closed doors. But Wack wasn't having it. He blasted it all out in public with zero hesitation. No respect, just flat out disrespect. Even when one of BG's old cellmates stood up and vouched that BG had never cooperated, Wack didn't backtrack. No paperwork, no receipts, just loud accusations. That move didn't just end a business deal, it nuked it, but the story runs deeper. From behind bars, Suge Knight allegedly warned Birdman a long time ago, told him straight Wack wasn't to be trusted, said he moved funny. And looking back now, Suge might have been the only one who spotted the setup before it played out. Wack's pattern is clear. If you're no longer on his team, he flips the script. Suddenly, your name's next to the word snitch, and the internet runs wild. Just ask Big U. They were solid for years, then out of nowhere, Wack starts airing out heavy allegations, from RICO rumors to mentions of unsolved street cases. And here's where it gets even messier. Wack allegedly texted Big U's wife before his arrest, telling her straight up he needs to leave. The whole message read like a heads up, like Wack knew the feds were closing in and gave her a warning before the axe fell.
All right, so yeah, after you got that message, after you got the message, you hit up Big U's wife. You said, "Sis, 911. One sec, let me get solo." And you gave him a heads up.
What I tell him?
You said, "One sec, let me get solo. He needs to leave. Bad." In caps, all caps. He needs to leave.
I said, "So bad, right?"
Yeah, so bad.
Sure enough, not long after that, Big U got hit with a federal case. So how is Wack always ahead of the curve? How does he always seem to know what's coming, like he's reading tomorrow's headlines today? People aren't out of line for questioning whether Wack is plugged into something much bigger, maybe even a direct pipeline to federal channels. Then came the curveball, the Rashawn Williams case. A high school football player dies under suspicious circumstances, and suddenly Wack jumps on Clubhouse claiming Big U's DNA was found under the kid's fingernails. The question everyone's asking, how is Wack even getting this kind of sensitive information?
If anything, it's alarming him, because there's a good chance he probably didn't know that his DNA came back up under that boy's fingernails.
Now, hold up, that kind of detail isn't your average street chatter. That's sealed investigation level info. Stuff like that doesn't just float around. You only get that kind of access if someone deep on the inside tells you, or if you are the inside. And here's the kicker. Just 2 days after Wack dropped that claim on Clubhouse, the feds swooped in and picked up Big U. That timing is way too precise to call coincidence. Now put yourself in Big U's shoes. A man you once considered family just aired out supposed evidence tying you to an active case for the world to hear. That's more than betrayal that feels like a setup. And it didn't end there. Right before turning himself in on the RICO charges, Big U went on camera, named Wack 100 directly, and flat out accused him of being connected to the FBI.
And I just want to say this to y'all. When they raided my houses and my property, they was asking about Wack. Wack, loose cannon, 600, and his internet.
Wack's always running his mouth on Clubhouse. It's like his personal battleground. Every time he grabs the mic, it's as if he's handing out snitch labels like they're free samples. Gunna, BG, even major industry names who haven't been charged with anything, if they fall out with him, he throws dirt on them instantly. He even said Gunna had a 2-hour interrogation video and promised to leak it, but nothing ever surfaced. Just noise, just more empty talk. That's Wack's pattern, all volume, little substance.
You some time, I don't know, 24 hours, 12 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, 1 hour, I don't know. I'm gonna give you some time though, Gunna. For you to go ahead on and confess.
Same playbook, different target. He did the same with BG. And half the people Wack's accused of being rats, there's no paperwork, no proof, just rumors. That's how he operates. When he gets loud, people stop paying attention to the facts. It's distraction, smoke, and mirrors. He calls others snitches, but behind the scenes, he moves just like one. And here's where things get heavy: wiretaps. Court documents allegedly mention Wack's name multiple times in a 2022 federal wiretap. Members of the Rollins 60 Seconds were caught discussing how they wanted to get at him, straight up called him a problem. A lot of people wanted smoke with Wack, but somehow he never gets touched, not in the streets, not in court. That's got folks asking, why is Wack always in the middle of the drama but never in the paperwork? No charges, no court dates, no convictions. So people started digging way back to 2005. That year, Wack and his brother were arrested in Texas for illegal firearms. Both were already convicted felons. That case should have stuck, but it didn't. It disappeared. No trial, no time, just gone. And Wack, he bounced between jails, including federal facilities, then walked out clean. That's when the whisper started. Maybe he flipped back then. Maybe that was the moment he linked with the feds. Because ever since, his moves have been different. Next thing you know, he's in law shaking hands with death row legends, rubbing shoulders with Suge Knight, and climbing fast. No arrests, no legal drama, just momentum. Too fast, too clean. Like someone cleared the runway for him. And when you really break it down, it all lines up. Wack isn't just a manager, he's a fixer. The go-between for the industry and the institutions. He doesn't just guide careers, he protects the ones he believes in. Look at the game 6ix9ine and Blueface. When they land in hot water, Wack steps in right on cue. Not just to manage the par, but to flip the whole legal narrative. He controls the headlines, steers the media, and somehow they keep slipping past major trouble. Now with Jay Prince openly suggesting that Wack's using federal TIs to shield certain artists, it doesn't sound like a wild theory anymore. It's starting to look like a calculated strategy. Check the lineup. Wack's been managing the game for years. Helped him dodge that $7 million judgment. Took hold of his royalties. Moved like he owned the whole catalog. That's not damage control, that's full control. Then there's 6ix9ine. After the world labeled him a rat, Wack stood by him alone, rebuilt his business, gave him gas money, tossed him on Clubhouse, and brought him back like nothing ever happened. And Blueface? He stays in legal trouble almost weekly, yet the headlines never explode. Why? Because Wack grabs the mic, spins the narrative, reframes the story, and keeps it under wraps. These aren't just artists. They're assets, investments Wack guards, and maybe even leverages for his own gain. But step out of line, it's over. Gunna, BG, Big U, soon as they clash with Wack, he unleashes the full force. But the game, 6ix9ine and Blueface, they remain untouched. If you're useful, you're protected. If not, you're exposed, and people have noticed. One person even said, Rat 100 is a professional storytelling snitch. Another added, you can tell Wack's working with the feds, man talks way too much. Lesson learned, Steer clear of loudmouths who gossip too freely. Because if Wack really is choosing who to protect and who to sacrifice, he's not just managing talent, he's controlling the chessboard. Not just in the rap world, but behind the curtain where the real moves get made. And if Jay Prince just cracked the door open, the real question is who's the name Wack's still hiding back there? Because once that name drops, it won't just shake hip-hop.it could bring the whole tower crashing down. If you found this breakdown eye-opening, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear the truth. Catch you in the next one.